I see a super alarming trend happening in real estate, and we're going to talk about it in this video. So, for all these guys that are new to my channel, I moved to Las Vegas about 5 years ago, and I joined the board of directors of my HOA. And you really made it in life when you join a board of an HOA and you get to argue about the trees that are allowed to be planted and are not allowed to be planted. Well, jokes aside, what you get to see when you join the board of an HOA is you get to see people being delinquent and not paying their dues, and those are going to be sent to collections. And we've been a small community of about 20 homes, and we didn't even really have a policy of sending people to collections and putting liens on people's houses and anything else like it, because it just didn't really happen. We're a small community, 20 homes. And now I want you, before I even dive more into this video, how many people do you think are delinquent now of my community? There's past 30 days, right? So how many people do you think haven't paid their dues in more than 30 or 60 days? I want you guys to guess, and I will then talk about it in a little bit. So yesterday, I had my meeting of the board members, and we had to emergency vote in a policy to then start collecting on these people. A whopping 8 houses have been delinquent past 30 days. And we've always had like one person kind of be delinquent, but after like the first letter sent out by the HOA management company that said, "Ooh, there was a mix-up. I haven't paid. Sorry, I didn't see it. So let me send that check in for $100 something, and you're pretty well off." But now the HOA has been sending letters, and just nothing happens. They're not paying, and all of a sudden we have to vote in emergency collection services and get the ball rolling. What's never happened before. So 8 houses, almost 50% of my community is back on their dues. And I looked online and they said, there's always 1 or 2 people that are delinquent if any given HOA, and or 10%. And so then they're like, okay, that's just kind of what is going on. But I got some videos today for you guys of basically explaining what is going on in the real estate market, because this is not just a one-off. And so we're going to kick this video off with this guy who's a lender who's going around houses in Texas. So let's watch this video, see what's happening inside real estate, what these lenders and these home builders are doing.
Here's some new build DR Horton homes. This community is fairly new, probably started being built within the last year. And I'm in this community, and why I'm bringing it up, I'm here for a foreclosure already. It makes me think, is this one of the DR Horton homes where they sold it, they hid all of the tax, insurance, escrow fees, and now they've sold the mortgage to somebody else, and then now this person's payments jumped $800, $1,000, or $1,200, and now they're realizing they can't afford it. Here's some model homes. You can see here, they're still working on these. This one is available. This one just sold, and the one that I'm going to go see is only 2 doors to the right of this one. I'm not going to show you the actual house, but it looks like it's been built maybe for 6 months and it's already going into foreclosure.
So imagine buying a house right here, and you're going to buy it. You buy one of these brand new homes, and then 2 doors down, they're starting to the foreclosure process because they've hid the fees. It happens. People don't know what they get themselves into. They got swindled. They got told the paper on paper when they went in to sign the documents, it wasn't clearly stated. And I've been doing real estate for quite some time, and it can get overwhelming. And car dealers do it too. Car dealers present you numbers that you just don't understand what you're even signing. It is so messed up, and people don't take the time to explain it to you, especially when there's some shady stuff going on. They just say, oh, sign here, and it's a 50, 60-page document. And then they're like, oh, sign here, sign there, sign here, and let's get you in and out quickly. And whenever you hear that word, like, oh, you got to be in and out quickly, you got to really sharpen your ears and be like, hold on, let's not make this in and out quickly. Let's just look at the numbers. And so if you like this type of content, it would really help if you like and subscribe. And so let's look at some of these other people that have been buying real estate for quite some time now, and are talking about, if you bought your house a few years ago, you're not well off. So let's watch this video.
I'm on one today. You don't understand. There's already probably 40% of people that bought homes in the last 3 years that are probably anywhere from 30 to 100 grand, if not more, underwater right now. It's crashing again. Every 10 to 15 years, housing market goes like this. And you can see now, if you look in like new construction neighborhoods, I'm in Illinois, look in Northern Illinois, see what people paid for a house in that new construction neighborhood a year ago, and then see what they're paying for that same house now. Plus the incentives they're all adding on, as far as 20 grand in upgrades, yada, yada. So all these people that overbid are stuck in these houses, don't even, like I said, include closing costs. So if you're 30, 40 grand undervalue on your house from what you paid, plus you got 20 to 30 grand worth of closing costs, you're 80 to $100,000 underwater on a house you bought in the last 2 years. That's what happened to me. My 2005 house that I bought for 310, it crashed. They appraised it at 180 in 2011. And then I just looked it up. It's only worth 390,000 right now, 20 years later, because the housing market does this. If you're buying short term on housing, you can get really railed, because if it does this, you got to be able to hold on until it goes back up like this. And that's what's happening right now. It's scary. I want to cry for some of these younger people that bought 21 through the beginning of 25, because I'm gonna guess a huge chunk of you guys are gonna get ready for the ride over the next few years. In my personal humble opinion, who deals with a lot of different builders, commercial and residential, there's going to be a lot of foreclosures and short sales coming up here in the next 2 to 3 years. It's already starting now, and it's just going to be a heavier tumble until it all gets corrected. So that's just my opinion. I'm not a realtor. I'm not nothing. I'm just a 48-year-old lady who rode the ride and who talks to almost every builder in Northern Illinois just asking about prices. So I'm scared for you guys.
So yeah, so you see her, she's like, "Man, I'm scared of you guys. You gotta know what you're getting yourself into. You can't just sign on that dotted line, get in and out quickly, think it's gonna be like the early 2000s where you buy a house, you do some renovations to it, you add a nicer fridge, you add some nicer countertops, and all of a sudden your house is gonna be worth $200,000 more, and you put it back on the market, and you're gonna get 100,000, $200,000 more than you got it for. These days are gone. You now need to go back to the basics of advertising a house, of trying to sell a house. And yeah, that's just how it goes. And people are getting wrecked. People are losing their homes because taxes go up, property taxes go up, insurance going up. And the only thing that's fixed is your interest rate, if you even put that. And if you got one of these arm rates and it's keep going up and up and up, you are literally getting wrecked. So now I got another video basically of a 40-year-old basically saying that he's at his prime. He thought he's gonna live out his rest of his life in his home. And that's not reality for him. So let's watch this one. It doesn't have any audio over it. It's basically just him putting some text over it and showing some emotional stuff. So let's watch this and let's talk about this one after. So for these people that watch this more as a podcast and not really as a video, basically this guy has been saying that I'm in my 40s. I'm expected to be fine. I'm expected to do great, but I'm not. I'm actually losing everything at this time of my life. I'm 40 and I'm literally losing everything. It's super, super, super crazy video. So when you're going to lose everything in your 40s, one of the problems you're going to face is that your runway shortens to retirement. And so when you're going to go out and your runway shortens to retirement and you have to basically restart from zero because you just gambled away money, you didn't know what you got yourself into, and then you're like, ooh, that's not good. It can be really, really bad for you. Because if you want to retire with six, you have another 20 years. I truly, truly believe that inside the US, if you have skills, if you're willing to live like nobody else and you're gonna lose everything and you're going to get humbled like crazy. It's going to take you 10 years to become financially secure again if you don't have too much debt, if you're willing to do what nobody does and live frugally, don't buy nice cars, and just live inexpensively and have a pretty decent income. But people don't want to live like nobody else. People don't want to not not go out to eat. People want to have the nice flashy stuff. They want to drive the $100,000 car. They want to drive the nice pickup trucks. They don't want to drive a beater car that's $10,000 and then work themselves back up again. And then, okay, now I'm making even better money. I leverage myself to a better job, and now I'm gonna start investing even more rather than upgrading my life. And I'm in communities in Las Vegas like this all the time. So I'm here in Lone Mountain, is like back there, and I see super expensive cars. I'm seeing Suburbans, I'm seeing GMCs, I'm seeing $1 million homes, and I'm seeing nice cars. And now we're looking at it. If this was an HOA, half of these people be delinquent. And when these people bought these Suburbans during the peak where they were going 10, 15, $20,000 above asking price, they're most likely underwater, just like on their home loans. If they bought it during 2022 and after, or 2020, where it was like, let's bid over asking price, and now reality starts to set in, and people are like, ooh, the funny money's gone. And now it's like, okay, how do you deal with it? And if you're gonna then short sell it, you gotta foreclose it, and you're back to square one basically with just debt and nothing else really. You gotta go back to the roots. You gotta look at your finances. You gotta look at, where can I go? What can I do? And one of my viewers yesterday said, yep, 9 grand in credit card debt. I'm just gonna let it go to collections. And one of these great tools about AI is, you can say about AI what you want, but it gives the most solid advice for the lowest cost possible. So what you can do is, because this guy's 9 grand in debt, it's gonna let it go towards collection. So what do you do in this situation is basically ask AI, hey, can I pass the means test for bankruptcy? If you don't know what the means test is, you should look into that and ask AI, what's the mean test? Can I do this? How can I get out of it? How can I get underneath of it? What else will happen to me? And you upload your financials. You upload that into the AI tool that of your choosing. If you pay for Google, you use Gemini. If you don't, then use GPT and ask it these commonly asked questions of, how do I rebuild my life? I'm 40 years old. I'm about to go into bankruptcy and lose a whole bunch of stuff. And once you're like, okay, this is my reality, and then all of a sudden you got to do what I've done, live frugally, and you can rebuild a gorgeous, gorgeous life in 10, 15 years. But you got to be willing to eat like nobody else, rice and beans. You gotta not go out, not go to nightclubs, not go drink expensive liquor. Those days are gone. Not going to wine tasting, and start doing projects where they give you money. Like, oh, I can help you lay some floors, or I'll help you do some other stuff, or be an electrician on the side if that's your gig, or be a car mechanic on the side. And just make sure that you're starting to make some money on the side to get your car note paid, to do all that. But people in my community, or in my YouTube community, watch my stuff all day, they say, no, it is their fault when they take out these expensive loans. It is their fault when they sign on the dotted line on these super expensive car notes. And I would say we got to caution, because there's something called predatory lending. And when you're going to tell people straight out the get-go, hey, you're going to finance this Yukon and you're putting no money down, you're going to get it for like 80 grand. This is the out the door price, and then we're going to charge you 5% over 5-6 years. And if you're going to tell a normal person, hey, you're going to pay for that Yukon 120 or $110,000, it's just on top of my head, right? And no BS, no nothing, or $130,000 at the end of the term, because because we added all these stickers, we added all these window tints, we've added all this the nitrogen and everything else, and with the interest rate at the end of the loan term, you paid $120,000, $130,000 for this car. People be like, ooh, hold on, let's take a step back. Let's not do that. But how they do it is they just put in some numbers. They like, let's get you in and out. They'll beat you up at the dealership for 3 hours. And then all of a sudden you're tired, you're exhausted. You go into the finance office and then you're just kind of signing it away. And they don't explain it to you good enough where you're going to be like, okay, this is reality. This is what I'm signing up for. The same goes when you go and sign for titles for your home, when you sign your mortgage documents. They're and you're not looking at it closely enough because you're eager to get into your house. They don't want you holding there for too long. They're like, let's make this quick. Let's do just sign here, sign there, instead of looking it over and be like, no, I got all the time in the world. Let me make sure I'm not signing something that they've put into play last minute. The only thing between real estate and car loans is that real estate is very, very well governed. So you have way better repercussion in lawsuits when you sign these mortgage paperworks and everything else than you do with car loans, because frankly, there's so many car loans that the government is like, okay, well, you got a bad deal, too tough. Well, bad luck to you. I'm sorry. I'm out. The only repercussion you kind of have is file a complaint with the DMV and saying those people extorted me. But then the DMV is probably going to say, why did you sign on that dotted line? And yeah, so this is what I always tell people: know what you got yourself into. Instead of getting a nice, here we go. Instead of getting a nice expedition like that, that's Allie, we're walking again. You should probably get a Camry like this, built probably in the early 2000s. And I bet you he probably doesn't have a loan. And this house, really nice, probably in the 1.2, 1.3 million-dollar range. And you see that people drive cars like that and they're just content with it. But then I see people online talking about, ooh, I need a nicer car. I need in a Cadillac. I need something else, or I need an even nicer car than that. And they go and get a BMW, they get a Mercedes or something else. Comes to find out, they shouldn't have done that. They should have just kept it below that 10, 15, $20,000 and just drove that car. That's what I did, and live frugally. But Americans, and trying to tell them to, hey, let's live frugally. Let's try to plan something for retirement, and let's not waste $800 a month on something if you can't afford it. If you have the money coming in, you got real estate properties, and you're like, I'm gonna, instead of me taking out the car loan for 60, 70, 80,000, let me put that into real estate and it's going to pay me actually double or triple. And then I use that money to pay the car note, where you're like, okay, my money's way better invested in that and get a 0% loan on it. People don't do that. They want to drive what everybody else wants to drive. They want to drive the Lexus. They want to drive the super fancy Beamers. And then all of a sudden, with the interest rate, they get wrecked. And so let this be the lesson for you today. Know what you get yourself into. When you're signing on the dotted line, the bigger the ticket item is, take more time. Take a step back, look over those documents, and ask questions. When you're sitting at the closing table and you ask questions, there's no stupid question. When it comes to money and it comes to fees, you should point it out. What's this fee? What is this fee? Why am I paying this fee? And why am I paying that? And all of a sudden, you might be like, well, I've never agreed to do this, and I've never agreed to this. Can you waive this, or can you do this? And most of the time they can work something out. But if you agree to just sign, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I signed my life away and now I'm stuck with the loan. Yeah, something your problem, right? Something's like that might be your problem. So let me know what you think about all this. This was my walk from Vegas, and I got Swiss people watching now, so I appreciate that, from my old town, from my old stomping grounds in Zurich. Man, life has just changed for me so much since I moved here, and I'm so blessed to be an American. Like, I made it. I got my authorization, then I got my work authorization, then I got my green card, then I became an American, and now I'm literally living the dream in Las Vegas. And I could have never ever imagined how cool, how of a journey I've did. And this is only like my 8th year inside the United States, and man, I feel like I'm so blessed to have so many more years to share my journey with you guys and see what I can accomplish. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.